the co-promoter of Oleksandr Usyk, K2 Promotions, are claiming that the three most likely opponents for Usyk in his next fight this year, 2019, are Luis Ortiz, Alexander Povetkin, and Denis Lebedev. Now, Denis Lebedev is mandatory challenger for one of Usyk's cruiserweight belts. Usyk has not yet relinquished his belts. And at heavyweight, Ortiz and Povetkin, well, Ortiz is somebody that not many fighters seem very keen on taking on. And the same could be said for Povetkin. Povetkin's only ever lost twice. He's very well known in Eastern Europe, Olympic gold medalist, just coming off a loss to Anthony Joshua. So I think an Usyk-Ortiz or Usyk-Povetkin fight would make a lot of sense. It would certainly, how can I put it, make the public believe that Oleksandr Usyk is very much for real at heavyweight if he was able to do a job on either one of those guys. Not just beat him, but do a job on him. People would sit up and say, whoa, okay, if he can do this to an Ortiz or a Povetkin, if he can beat Ortiz better than Wilder did, or beat Povetkin better than Joshua did, then hey, we have to take this guy extremely seriously. Now, a lot of fans are already taking Usyk very seriously at heavyweight, even without him beating those two. But if he did, you can imagine that he would gain a lot more support and a lot more people would believe in him in this particular weight class. We know he's a fantastic cruiserweight, but heavyweight is a different game altogether. The Lebedev fight, I can't imagine too many people really want to see that. Lebedev passed his best at this point. Now, it is interesting that Alexander Krasuk, or is it Krasuk or Krasyuk? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. The representative for K2 Ukraine claimed that Joseph Parker and Jarrell Miller both refused fights with Oleksandr Usyk. Also says that Takam has called out Chisora. White will most likely fight Joshua in April. So he says that it's Povetkin or Ortiz. Povetkin and Ortiz are the only two top-notch heavyweights left. And he says there's a 70% chance that he fights one of them in his first bout as a heavyweight. Not only will it be impressive for him to beat one of those guys, it'll be impressive for him to even take on one of those guys. It's a statement of intent, is it not? When you're stepping in there against an Ortiz, a guy who is purportedly a bogeyman, or in the United States they would say a boogeyman in the heavyweight division, for you to be willingly taking him on, that's quite something when you're coming up from cruiserweight. And even Alexander Povetkin, as old as he is, and he's definitely no older than Ortiz, some say he's younger, he's only got 2 losses. He hasn't taken a terrible beating many times in his career. I mean, you think about how many tough fights Povetkin's actually had. The Marco Huck fight was pretty tough. The Klitschko fight was tough for him. And the Joshua fight was tough. Outside of that, has he really had tough fights? And what I'm trying to say is, yes, he's old and he can't be as good as he was a few years ago, but he's a fairly well-preserved fighter for the age that he's at and the number of fights he's had. He's fairly well-preserved. He doesn't have that many miles on the clock. Yeah, he's been 12 rounds and he's had training camps and all that kind of thing. We do have to take that into account. But there are far more used up fighters out there at the age of 39 than Alexander Povetkin. And I'm talking about world level fighters. So I still think it would be a statement of intent for Oleksandr Usyk to step in there against Povetkin. And that would be a huge fight in Eastern Europe, by the way. Povetkin still, I have to imagine, has a lot of support in Russia. Russia, Ukraine, I mean, we don't need to go into politics, but there's a situation there. And it could be, marketed. I'm sure it would be marketed to some extent that way, perhaps, if Povetkin and Usyk were to fight. I don't know whether it would be a grudge match. I don't know whether it would be a case of either fighter being used as political pawns by either country. I don't know. I don't want to get into that really. Certainly not on YouTube. But what I'm saying is I think there will be a lot of interest in the fight in Eastern Europe, a massive amount of interest, and I'll be interested in the fight. And where would they have it? Would they have it in Ukraine? Would they have it in Russia? Would they have it on neutral territory? Yeah, all be very interesting to find out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Oleksandr Usyk. Who's he going to fight in his first bout at heavyweight? Will it be any of the names mentioned? Or RK2 just name dropping for effect? Do they really have any intention of fighting these guys? I've seen a couple people's videos. I think Beats did a video about it, and a couple other people addressing the whole Joseph Parker and Jarrell Miller ducking Oleksandr Usyk. Parker, apparently, according to the videos I watched, has been denying. Him and David Higgins have been denying that they have ducked Usyk, and I haven't heard anything yet from Miller. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, people. Who would you like to see Usyk fight out of all the names mentioned? And if it's not anybody mentioned, and I'm talking about for Usyk's first fight at heavyweight, if it's not anybody mentioned, then tell me who it is. Let me know, people. It's Sam and I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.